Okay, so here we go. Celica and pretty much what you should be doing with her, right? Celica is like a normal Shoto character with big buttons and a decent amount of damage. Celica herself is pretty much just played as a point because she should be your main focus if you're playing Celica. So as for like her buttons, right? Like I said before, they're really just big. But if you were to compare it to like Jin, where Jin would press JB and just kind of space you out and try to avoid you just running in and playing his game, playing your game, or just putting out Snowflake to just assess the situation and make sure he can keep himself safe. Celica would kind of do the opposite, where she wants you to try and do something. She wants to force like a scramble to happen because she has the buttons that'll just like win in those kinds of situations. And when you bring assists into this, she kind of just like goes in, and you're in a situation like this. Like, so for Celica, you you kind of play just like a gorilla. You would just be constantly swinging around with 5B or 5A and trying to make something happen, even if that sounds like right. So her normals 5A. It's kind of like Narukami's, but with like a much bigger hurt box. She can't really convert it from too far away, like not max range, but pretty close to it. 2A is a double hitting low. This move is still really good coming over from CF. It's still -3. It's still 9 frames. It's really good at catching up back. 5B, it's not too great as an anti-air. It can work sometimes. If head invul comes in really late at like frame 10, but in the scramble situations where they are at really weird angles, it comes in a lot and ends up getting really weird hits that it will be like backwards, like kind of like this. You'll get that a lot. 2B. Oh man, this move is pretty much just like combo filler now. There's nothing much to talk about with that move other than like, yeah, you get it on like a counter hit route. 2C is still the same as it was in CF mostly. Not much to talk about here. It's just a sweep. And then when Celica gets in the air, it's like she becomes like the worst character in the game. She has her air to air and jumping is not really that great because JA's vertical hitbox is like pathetic. Same for like its cross up. You can't really like do much with it. Like you can try to air with it, but the hurt box becomes a problem a lot more than other characters would. JB is pretty much the same as CF. It still has its backwards hitbox and leads into the rest of her B auto combos. JC, unlike CF, is special cancelable, so this move is a lot more useful now because you get a decently fast overhead that you can combo off of anywhere as long as she has a recovery cap. Even if you don't get the backwards hitbox, you'll still combo with it. But the main thing about this character is not her normals. It's mainly special moves, right? So you have your fireball. There's two versions. They both go the same distance, but B has a slight delay on it. These fireballs are okay. Celica will end up throwing them a lot, but they're mainly used in corner combos and neutral. Neutral mainly because you can do stuff like fireball plus assist and then make them block and try and get the other character in if Celica needs to get out, like this. And it makes them float on hit and like cause a knockdown. So if you get the hit, you get to gain real estate and try to force them to the corner with fireballs if you want to. The slower fireball is kind of the same. Oh, but with this one you can like kind of chase behind it or fake them out with it since you can refire. This is something that Jin can do too, but more with his air fireball than the ground one. So it's a similar concept to that. 214A, projectile guard point, and it's really good when it works because most of the time against projectiles they're going to be in recovery by the time Celica gets to them. Even if this is Celica's own projectile, like they would really be in recovery at the by the time you react to it. You don't get a combo off of it without assist, but since Celica is pretty much going to eat the projectile, doing this plus assist is like a decent idea. Naoto isn't really the best for helping her out with this though. It's better with, say, Seth, because Seth has 5P that goes really far. So you get an actual combo off of that. And that's why I have Seth here. These two teams are probably her best ones, and that's why I have them here for these examples. 214B. They actually nerfed this move a lot. In CF, she would get a full combo off of it, and it was 2 frames faster. But I guess, considering this is a team game, she can do this now, or like this. It's not that big of a problem, and she has another overhead now. But the main use for this is you can hard call out DPs with this, and depending on the DP you would have to change your timing, but with that plus assist, it's that's kind of its main use. You don't really want to mix. It's a mix-up tool in active switch, but it's a really lackluster one because it's really reactable. Like you'll get a DP safe active switch like that, but it's not the greatest considering how slow the overhead is. So fitting her into a team, you'd want Celica to get the most out of her partner by them being able to set up healing for her, since that is her main gimmick. You want to be able to get safe heals and be able to get Celica out afterwards. Well, not afterwards, but be able to get Celica out while healing, while still being able to either keep the combo burst safe or use her as an assist to use 4P while being burst safe. And Naoto and Seth do this the best because they have burst safe moves that they can combo into at any time. So, an example. Oh wait, well the burst safe heals and being able to get heals while also getting a good use out of assists using the heals. So the main example would be like this with Naoto. And I would go in the cross combo here. And no matter which way they attack, they would still be in a sandwich. Or being able to just do that. Any character could really do that, but with Naoto, he would be, if they were to get their burst back or try to burst here, he has a DP that he can combo off of. So even though any character can do this, his situation after it is much better than theirs. And if Celica were to be in the back, while she's not typically going to be there, when she has to be in the back, Naoto can easily use 4P. Oh my god, I have not played this game in a really long time. I'll just do this. Like that. Well, I dropped the Phantom Pain, but and then I would get the follow-up and then sway behind them and they'd be in a really bad situation because of the sandwich. That kind of stuff. As for example with Seth, he has a pretty easy option where he could just do this and he would get the full heal. Or just tagging out on the 214C and Celica healing herself. Those are really, really easy for both of these teams to get just at any time. As an assist in the back, Celica, she has average assists. 5P doubles as like combo and CC filler and an anti-air assist because of how high it hits. So like, say in situations where Naoto would have to anti-air, but he doesn't really have two great anti-airs, he can do this. Oops. And Celica will like cover that for him. Like it hits decently high and it hits behind her. So like it's pretty good for anti-airing. And then 6P delayed laser that goes nearly full screen or almost full screen and causes a wall bounce. So not too many characters can really make use of this, like the delayed assist, but characters that like delayed assist like Naoto, it's pretty cool, and you can kind of use it like Mitsuru 6P, where you would just call it just to have her there and just do something with the active switch potential because she's there for a really long time. So in Naoto's case, he just have her there and then go for a fast active switch mix up because that's kind of how the character is. Or just get a safe jump off of something like this. and do something like that. 4P, as I said before, you have to have very specific characters to actually make use of this. The only characters I've seen so far that have good uses of 4P are Naoto, Seth, Yang, Adachi, and Nine to some extent. Ragna too. Those characters aren't as great for Celica as she is for them, because they would lack a lot of things for Celica, mainly in the department of trying to get her heals off without the opponent being able to burst. Oh well, not the opponent being able to burst, but getting her heals off mid combo while also having a good situation afterwards. So let's talk a little bit about offense. So it'd be sim. It's kind of similar to Jin, where you're not really doing much of mixing them up. She can with JC, but it's not like the best mix up in the world, right? So you would resort a lot to resetting staggers off of 2A, because she gets to use 2A twice in a Gatling string. So 2A, 5A, 5A, 2A. You're pretty far out after you push them away, but being this far out with her normals is pretty good, right? Because you have an 8 frame 5A, and this is 2A is -3. While a lot of characters still can dash after this, your normals will hit without dashing, and even with dashing, you're right back in their face. But the main part is the stagger options that you have after with 5B, 2B, 2C, or even just jump cancel off of like 5AA is really good, because they don't want to get hit by this character at all. If they get hit, they take either a lot of damage, or you're just going to take that opportunity to get your health back in the next hit. So they end up working harder than they have to actually kill Celica, because the hits that you get will always be converted into heals or putting them in the corner. And her specials on offense aren't the greatest either. 214A is at least safe along with Fireball, so you can use these to end your block strings if you aren't sure on if they will press a button or not to go in and reset pressure. Her B normals, uh, outside of 5B, I do not recommend going past anything without doing just like 5B JC or 5B 214A, because no matter what you do, these will always have gaps that can get DP'd. Sure, you can try to do 5B 214B to like armor it, but if they were to just not do anything and just block the overhead, you would still get punished. So it's not exactly a risk that I like to take, but it's something to remember that she can do. Mainly, you would want, so like, mainly you would want to have your assist to make sure that your option would be safe. So like off of a knockdown, you would just go for that instead. Or safe jump them, either one. Her throw, it's still like it's just a throw. It's not the same as it was in CF. Like it's kind of worse actually because of the way it launches them. So on normal combos, you end up getting a lot less than if you were to have an enhanced combo. Her offense is not really that complicated because there's not much to really work with. You're kind of just shifting between stagger 2A and throwing them. And occasionally trying to go for overheads because she has a decent amount of jump cancelable normals. 5A, 5AA, and 5B are all jump cancelable, so you can mix up where your jump cancel options go in. It's standard stuff. Her defense, though, is much better than a lot of other characters because Celica cannot get safe jumped no matter what. Even if she does not have her enhanced state, she cannot get safe jumped. So even being this far out, right? The guard point will pretty much just always win. I didn't turn off the guard point, the enhanced state, but even without it, like Celica wins. And she has quite one of the funniest like super plus assists in the game because she recovers really fast from this super, like really fast, and they're sandwiched after it. So in a lot of cases where you're put on defense, going to DP or super plus assist with her will usually just put the situation into your favor because being in these situations is really tough. It's not much to say. Her defense is really good. So in most situations, the other person would have to switch up their offense so that they can account for having to deal with DP. But then you have super plus assist, and then they didn't account for that, and now they it's a really stupid guessing game for Celica on defense. Cross combo is kind of weird because Celica pretty much has one assist in cross combo. Like if you're using cross combo and you like get 4P or 6P, it's like, oh, I guess so. I have no use for this as of right now, like this time of me recording it, but 5P is good enough for stopping up back attempts and keeping them in block stun, so it's not too bad, but being restricted to the neutral input can be a problem sometimes because that would mean like say if like just her doing that, right? If I were to call Celica and she's already doing 5A and I want to get Celica to do like an active hitbox assist really fast, I'd have to press 5P and then go to blocking really fast during that time. That's the kind of like drawback to having her assists. Her cross combo mix up isn't exactly the best either. She has like the DP safe mix up with that. She has 5A 2B to do the same. So like you have high low, but it's really really slow high low that they don't really have to think about, and they can jump out to. So you you would have to resort to doing like fireballs to actually get your mix up. And the fireballs aren't bad. It's just you're not getting the same value high low as other characters, and then sometimes that can happen too. It's it's good high low for, well, not good high low. It's good reward for her and her team, but at some point you'd have to end up getting a little bit more creative for her sandwich stuff. So like you have to end up doing something like negative edge the tag button into like 2A like this to actually get uh, a decent mix up. And it's not bad. It's just in the it's a little unconventional for the character. So like there's that too because of the natural gaps in her B auto combos, but it's a lot. It's difficult to deal with it. Not having the DP safe mix up there. You'd have to delay the switch in a weird way to make it hit Celica instead of hitting her partner. Because if you were to do it immediately and it hit her partner, you'd just like end cross combo and be sad. In Resonance, it's not really as great as you would think with the constant healing, but it does do a bit for her since you'll be in your enhanced state quite a little bit more often with Resonance than if you didn't have it. So it's okay to have Celica like die last and have her come back with Resonance, because having just like the instant cash out with all the meter for her, like she gets a decent chunk of damage just doing like single hit stuff into super over and over. Like you could take out a character in Resonance in like 2 hits if Celica were to land the hits. But in the 1v1 situation or the 2v1, even if she doesn't end up getting the kills, it's really suffering because like if the other player has 2 really good characters that can fight Celica well, and Celica is like low health, she can't really do much. It's hard for her to make the solo comeback with what she has now. But overall, Celica is a okay character, not the greatest, but not the worst either. She can fight, but the list of partners that you can choose from with Celica that offer her synergy is really small. And if you want to play Celica, I hope you like Seth, Naoto, and Ruby.